Okay.
Okay, so
looks like Jake is. Yeah, we're good now. Yep. There we go.
Yep, 4 more.
Gets that keyed land, but just decides to put the pressure on. I like it. No reason to commit too much to the board.
Yeah, force your opponent to show you his wiper if he has it. Now,
It's a shame. I think the one thing this deck could really use, I don't think it's in his list, and it's not in his board. Yeah, Boon Satyr would go a long way in this matchup if he had it. He chose to skew it for like. Looks like he's got another Arbor Colossus and the what's the extra card? Oh yeah,
Second
the
Nylea.
Soul of New Phyrexia. That's the other
Soul,
odd one.
yeah, Soul.
I mean, it's great, but like, man, Boon Satyr would. It really helps break this match wide open. Like, it lets you add 4 pressure to the board for 4 power to the board for 3 mana at instant speed. Can really screw up the math because otherwise the blue-white player knows he can just kind of sit there and like he's going to do this basically, play 7 lands and then start reffing.
Yeah. So Jake commits another Satyr to the board. He forces a Rev out. At the end of his own turn, Matt now is going to untap, play an 8th land, and it looks like he's an Elspeth now.
Yeah.
So he's going to be able to shut down the Dork Beatdown shenanigans. But at the same time, Planar Cleansing becomes a little less valuable because now he's going to commit one of his biggest threats to the board. He does have 3 of them, though. He's not playing 2. So he probably could afford to lose one if absolutely necessary.
Rev, does he Rev, Div?
He definitely has
else.
a Rev and Divination. We saw those cards, some more lands. We're not 100% sure what he has in his hand outside of that.
Might have been the Ether Spouts. I think I saw another mono blue card. Could be wrong.
Leaves up Mutavault as well. Looks like 2 Fountains, 2 Syncopates. Fountain, Syncopate, and I think that maybe that's a promo dissolve or an Aether Spout. I don't know.
No, because you had 2 of the same card. That blue card, there's 2.
That's Syncopate in the middle. There's 2.
Yeah,
I'm
two
pretty
on
sure.
the left. Well, I guess we'll see soon enough. It may be the promo dissolve or a foil dissolve of some kind.
Yeah, one of those. There was a
Jake's gonna try and have a big turn here to make Matt do something. At least he can like maybe get a lot of mana out of a Genesis Hydra and not commit too many of his cards to the board while forcing Matt to do something.
Yep. So it looks like the devotion counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and Garruk. I mean, there's Negate is the only counterspell I think they could work here.
Yeah, he doesn't have that main.
And doesn't have that main board, so Jake's gonna go ahead and get to put his hand, just full of threats right now, and he's still in a really good spot because if Matt wastes a Planar Cleansing here, he's got a handful of tools to just reload.
Oh baby, that was big.
So yeah, Courser, Pelucanos, and Hydra. Yeah, so now he can start to.
Now, did he only leave one?
The key card here for Jake, I think, is his main board God of Nylea.
Yep.
The God, if the God comes down, it completely ruins everything Matt's trying to do because it not only is it indestructible, but it makes all these dorks huge, whichever ones do get through, and it forces Matt to have to waste these spells, and it just stays on the board. And Jake has a handful of threats, as we've seen, so he can find that card, and stick it. There's not a whole lot Matt can do about it.
Yep. The only main deck way to get it off the board, aside from an attack and getting Aether Spouted, is to have it Perilous Vaulted, and it's just a one-of, so
right.
Unlikely.
And I believe, and Jake does have 1 mainboard Reclamation Sage for the vault, so if it's not played in the correct order, he could actually take it out before it could stop him.
Yep. Wow, Jake with a ton of options here.
Yeah, he's going to go through all of them. This is where he actually has to do the real assessment in his head, not just the...
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so that's for 9. So he can generate 16 here. 17, excuse me. Unless he had already had mana floating, which I don't recall, honestly. Here we go. Approximately a zillion. I think if he's gonna play Hydra here, he might actually play Polar Chronos and fight some dudes.
Yeah.
And then he can, let's see, but he played that Burning Tremor, so he can't attack for 5. He can only attack for 3, even if he kills both guys. And there's a Mutavault to deal with.
Yeah, so he could fight the soldiers and do some damage to Elspeth. I think that's probably not a bad plan because Let's see what we got. 3.
I think if he has a Hydra, he should go for it because he can get the Nylea into play. He can get his best threat into play.
Yeah.
Hopefully, he doesn't go for all of it and get it syncopated embarrassingly.
Yeah, I agree. I think you go ahead and you cut yourself one short in the Hydra, so you have the 1 mana to pay for syncopate, and then you try to find that god because the god basically just wins you the game.
That is the plan.
And like we said before a few times, Jake did have access to the deck list. I doubt he's going to attack with the god out of the Fear of Ether spout. So
could get charmed too, which is another problem.
Right, exactly.
Also.
I think it's going to stay at home.
Let's see.
That looked like
it's like a Hornet. That's a Hornet Queen.
Yeah, it was a Hornet Queen.
Huh. That's interesting, but I don't think it really does enough.
I think you want to hold that in your hand to rebuild your devotion account.
I think after the Wrath, that's the first card you want to play. Oh, well, he's going to go for it anyway.
He's going to go for it. Yeah.
He's got a lot of cards in hand. Maybe he's...
Now, basically what this says is you have to wipe the board now, because your Elspeth is dead next turn if you don't. Because that's going to be 6 damage into it. So,
look at that one. Does he have an English token? I swear he does.
And he knows that there's no creatures in Matt's deck except for Aetherling, so there's nothing that can be done about this flying army of Hornets.
Well, we'll see what Matt does about it. I'm sure it's going to involve some measure of bordering.
Did he
was
draw
that
the Aetherling?
Was that a Quicken or an Aetherling?
I think it was an I think
it might have been an Aetherling.
Just a split-second art recognition. I think that was Aetherling, but it's tough to see. He's holding his cards just a couple degrees too steep for us to see perfectly into his hand, and not giving us a lot of art either. Oh, but there's a Divination, 2 Syncopates. That's an Aetherling. I'm pretty sure.
All right. Well,
pretty
actually,
sure it's an Aetherling.
Matt's hand is not all that well set up for this.
No, it's really not set up to handle what's about to come down. All he can really do is make some soldiers and hold up the Rev. I mean, he could deploy the Aetherling here, but then he leaves himself wide open to getting just crapped all over in one turn.
I don't like playing the Aetherling here. Really doesn't do a lot except kill Garruk next turn.
Right, and the cool thing too is if Jake has any way to pump this army of flyers, he doesn't even have to kill Elspeth. He can just go straight to the dome and deal 9 damage. He's got 6 on board right now.
So the Syncopate would be for 3, 4, 5, 8, which isn't nearly enough to really stop much of anything, given how much mana Jake has available.
Yeah, he currently is sitting on a devotion of 6, 10, 11, 12, 13.
So he's got approximately a jillion mana.
Yeah, he has 13 devotion. He has a Voyaging he has 2 Voyaging Satyrs, so you could kick that up to let's see, that would be 39, and that's before adding land with his last forest. So that would be he has 40 green mana access right now.
I realized he had Annihilate's Disciple main. Not very useful here, but as a devotion count.
Well, the Disciple's he has 1 Disciple, I believe, main deck, and he has 3 more in the sideboard.
Yeah, when he grabbed his deck list, I'm like, uh-oh, hope this is an issue.
Yeah, so he actually could just put the game, if he Disciples, he could put the game 3 more Aetherling turns away.
Yeah.
So
at least. I think Jake's probably going to go for, he's got that Hydra in his hand, and the thing is, if you just go for it, it's going to be for approximately a jillion. You're almost certainly going to find your Nylea, and you're going to have hopefully enough mana left over. And remember, Matt can't counter the Nylea. It puts the card into play, right?
Right. He has to counter the Genesis Hydra,
which doesn't do anything because the Genesis Hydra's trigger is on cast.
Yeah, it's
so he can counter the Hydra, but the Nylea still be in play, and he can the game could end on this turn.
Yeah. If Nylea, God of the Hunt, hits the board, he's literally dead to 2 activations, I believe, because he can only block. I mean, theoretically, if he had removal spells in his hand, he can only remove maybe 2 of the creatures. So 3 flyers come across for 3. You'd only need 2 pumps, and you'd be at so you need 3 pumps. But still, we know he doesn't have the removal.
Yeah, he doesn't have any.
So 1 pump is all Jake needs to, or 2 pumps is all he needs, and that's only 8 mana. Which he has.
Right. All right. I don't know who Snover played against, but Matt Snover has advanced into the semifinals.
I had here. I have the top. I had it just out of reach. I had it. So, Aaron Snover, playing red, actually.
There were 31 people in the event.
Was able to defeat Joe Damon.
Joe Damon, all right.
So we had Aaron Snover on stream earlier with a very interesting build of mono red, not exactly sly, and heavy on burn spells, but no white. Between in the 75, 4 Stoke the Flames, 4 Skull Cracks, 4 Maybe he did have white. I'm trying to remember. Did he have Boros Charms? I think maybe he did have white.
Either way, I'm really into Destructive Flame. That's the Convoke card, right? Red
Yeah,
red
the
2
4 damage
instant
to any
deal 4.
target Convoke. Yeah.
Really into that card. You get into a lot of situations you're playing a red deck, especially like the boss slide variants, where, like, you know, you have all this stuff that makes your guys can't block, and then you might get brick walled for one turn, and in that one turn, instead of having to choose whether to like play your guy or play your burn spell, you can like just hold up, play your burn spell with your guys, and like this way you've still advanced your board. It's really actually a pretty good tempo play if you can't attack with your guys.
Alright, so Jake playing into a Quickened Verdict. I'm pretty sure he knows that it's not in his opponent's hand at this point. So,
Is that the dissolve?
Yeah, that is the foil
So, but it
dissolve.
looks like he's...
Yeah, so that's what that was. That's a promo dissolve. And this is the Hydra now. And he finds another Garrick.
Which... Yeah, I guess, alright. That is a kind of a
Without-
weak Hydra, but...
Without Nissa or the God being hit, I guess that's probably your best
That's
hit.
surprising. Why wouldn't you go for a little more?
Um,
So what actually got countered? The Polar Chronos? Looks like
I
it.
think what he did was he spent enough mana to get around Syncopate, and he also left back 2 forests to be able to... Oh no, he has both Voyage and Satyrs tapped, so I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
it looks like he floated away, and he led with Polar Chronos, which actually is a smart play now that I think about it, because you could just fight. You have enough mana to fight Matthew's whole team, and then everything gets through.
Right, and
It's kind of a good test spell in this case.
he has access to 3 mana when you count the Elvish Mystic up front there, so maybe he's got something in his hand for... He might have a Reclamation Sage, actually, but I don't know. No,
It's
that
actually
doesn't
on
really-
the
Yeah, it's on the...
Garrick pile right now.
Okay, so... Oh, and he doesn't have anything to hit with it, though. What else is in his deck?
There's let's see, look at this, just more fat. It looks like.
Yeah, nothing really to hit for 3 mana, but maybe the Mystic's probably going to attack. I'm not sure why he left the 2 green, but with both Voyaging Satyrs tap, but, you know, he's got to have a plan.
Honestly, as a green devotion player, like when you're like sequencing through your turn mentally, like a lot of times, especially when your opponent counters like one of your spells, like you got that Polar Chronos dissolve, like the math really goes to heck, and
Yeah.
like you kind of you can either slow down and like take an excruciating amount of time, or you could do what I would do, and I'd probably just make decisions how I feel, which you probably end up with probably not optimal, but at least you did it a lot faster.
Yeah, assume that the 2 forest opener, the extra 2 mana to play around the Syncopates at the various levels Syncopate's been available throughout Jake's turn. That has to be what they're there for. And maybe the Elvish Mystic is the count as well. So, just to remind everybody, we are at Gamers Gauntlet in Clinton Township, Michigan, which is about 20 to 30 minutes north of Metro Detroit, depending on your traffic. And this is our SCG IQ for this weekend. You can say that... let's see. Tomorrow... It's not tomorrow, but next weekend we have a Players' Championship, right?
And that's game day.
Game day.
Actually, game day is next weekend. I don't know when our like
The championship, I think,
GGCS
is next weekend, but it's on a different day.
It may be.
Top 16 standard and top 8 draft, I think.
I have not been informed of that, but yeah. Well, when we get that date, we'll get it out to you guys immediately.
We had 30
we have
players
like
today.
a promotional series where like every match you win here throughout like a 3-month period, you earn points for, and then at the end of the 3-month period, the top 16 standard players get invited to an invitation-only, no entry fee tournament where you can win cool stuff, win our awesome championship play mats, and win I think it's like a box of product maybe, something like that.
Yeah, and I believe it is happening sometime soon because
It's probably actually on one of the Sundays.
Yeah, it's probably
because
next
we have
Sunday.
2 Sundays where we have nothing scheduled yet. So yeah.
so you can head on in and check that out, and also next week we have the Kaijudo stuff
Oh yeah, we got a KMC next Saturday.
next Saturday,
Next
and then the
Saturday.
cash tournament on Sunday.
Yep, Cash of the Duel Masters on Sunday. Yep, man,
So-
we got lots of.
If you're in the Midwest, you should check out gamersgauntlet.net for some info on some nice deals that you can get if you want to drive into town and stay a night or two and hang out and play Kaijudo with us next weekend. It's going to be a blast.
Oh yeah.
I've traveled to a few myself. It's just like going to a PTQ for Magic. It's the exact same thing, really, and qualifying for championships in Rhode Island in the winter.
Well, it's not the exact same thing. Apparently,
It's the
according
equivalent.
to-
It's the equivalent
yeah.
of what a PTQ would be.
Certainly, it is the equivalent in terms of the road to playing at the highest level
Right.
possible. I would say it's actually a lot more fun than most PTQs.
That's true.
That's just this is I hear this from people on Team Stormspark that
Less
it's
rounds and
a little more camaraderie.
yeah, and faster rounds. It's
Yep.
not as
What happened?
you're getting into a slogging death knell of a day, but it's only going to be like 6 rounds in top 8 as opposed to 10 rounds and then come back and play in the top 8 the
Oh
next
my
day.
gosh.
So it's a little easier to handle and more time left out in the end of the day for some fun. Alright, so Jake came in with all the flyers and killed the Elspeth there.
Oh my lord.
And now he's back on his turn again, and he's just going to start going to town because he didn't get his board wiped. And
So I think this is end of Matt's turn he's doing this?
Yeah,
Looks
this
like
is
maybe
a
this is why
chord.
I left this man up. Yeah.
Chord for
Looks
a
like
ton.
the chord is for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
All it really needs to be for is 6. To
Looks
get,
like he's doing. He might be
or
doing
4,
it for
I'm
7,
sorry.
I'm not sure.
If he gets the chord for 4 off, he gets the god, and then it's over.
Yeah, he needs to get that Nylea.
Although, let's see, is there any other way for him to push through more damage in the air? I think the god is it, but yeah, it's going to be syncopated.
So that's 1, 2. He doesn't actually have a whole lot of good attackers at the moment. Just Jace ticked up.
Right, but now with Jake untapping and only 1 mana up on Matt's side, if he has any way to get that Nylea, it's
This is
over.
going to be an ugly turn
Yeah.
for Matt. Just draw the Nylea and show it. It's cool. Make life easy for us.
So Darksteel Citadel
Look
was,
out.
was
It's
revealed
the
by
Citadel.
Courser.
Another forest. Plays the Citadel, oddly enough. I guess he's got Nissa. I don't know. I would hope Jake's going to try and end the game this turn.
Yeah, so he's going to go searching for more threats.
Oh, that's going to do it right there.
Yeah, Pluganos.
Yeah, he's a Polychronos, and he's going to fight Matt's entire team. And I think that's going to get through enough for enough. That Genesis Hydra has 8 counters, right? Looks like it. And that's pretty much that's just about, let's say, that's 7.
So Courser's
8,
1.
9, 10, 11. That's actually only 11.
The Hornet Queen's 2/2, so 1, 2, 3, 4, plus the Hydra after it fights the entire board will actually be,
Oh, the Hydra.
that will be enough. Or,
No,
I'm sorry, not the
it'll
Hydra,
be,
but
it'll be
7. It'll be 1 short. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so he'll be 1 short.
Yep.
So he's still looking for the Nylea is still probably the better option right now. So you're not gonna get
I
a
think
whole
Jake's just having fun in his own little world right now.
right. Yeah. Well, and with no time constraint in the round either.
Yeah, I know. He's just
going
gonna be like, I'll generate 100. I'll go down to 98. I'll go to 198.
Yep. And if he has
Well,
another
as a-
Hydra in his hand, he can pretty much just see how much is left in his
he'll
deck and
he's
just go
gonna
get the
tutor
card.
into his deck and boom. Yeah, you can see Jake's hands emphasizing the dozens and
the
dozens
mana
of
count,
mana
yeah.
that he's got going on. This is what happens when you play against Blue-Eye Control and they don't get a Wrath. And you're just like, you don't got a Wrath? All right, let's do
Okay,
something.
party time. So,
So he's got that, but that's not game ending as far as I can tell. Maybe I'm missing something here.
1, 2, 3, 4,
It's not enough to win.
and 7 is 11. Yeah. I mean, now putting your opponent to 1 with a handful of threats isn't terrible either.
Oh yeah,
but,
that's fine. Looks like
you know.
Jake's like directing traffic, trying to directing a plane to come in a landing with all the finger motion. You're gonna fight the team.
And now, if he's done the math, he knows this isn't a lethal attack.
There's a Nissa in his hand. Oh, there's a Nissa. That's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
So
know
now
how
he
to miss
animates a
that
forest, and that's enough.
one. Yep.
And Matt should pick up on this and scoop it up, but he's gonna make him
Don't
go ahead.
animate the Dark Steel. No! Didn't you just play it? Oh, Jake. Oh, Jake.
Did he?
It is indestructible, so like,
Yeah.
what is like Matt's got an Azorius Charm in his hand, doesn't he? So it's actually not over.
Well, he doesn't have enough mana to cast Azorius Charm. He only has
Yeah,
one
but he
mana.
can't attack with it this turn, so like he untaps if he has a board wipe. Play, cast the board
Right.
wipe,
Right.
and then like has the
Azorius
charm.
Charm's a land,
Oh,
right?
boy,
Yeah, okay.
Jake.
Okay. But
Maybe he might have more plays. You never know.
I'm not sure. Was that last turn that he played the Citadel though?
He just played it this turn. He played it, and then he revealed the forest, and then he plussed Garrick.
Okay.
That was this turn. I'm
yeah.
vastly sure.
I think it was his turn, but maybe
Maybe no one notices.
Matt doesn't notice.
He kind of pointed at it when Jake animated it. So no, maybe
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I think yeah.
So we're gonna enter combat here.
What's going on here? Yeah, I think Jake knows, because otherwise he would have just like tapped his whole team. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep. Not enough.
Oh, if you would have animated a forest, it's game over.
Oh man.
Wow.
Rough beats. Rough beats.
Wow. Okay. Well, Matt's
Well,
gonna
the
have a
door's
chance
open.
to draw it out.
Yep. The door's open. We'll see what happens.
Planar Cleansing is the nuts, and it's another charm. I don't think that's gonna do it. He can down tick Jace though.
Dig.
And dissolve in 2 lands is his answer.
I think that's going to be... Yeah,
And he's immediately going to scoop after that. So, thankfully, Jake is not punished for that. I mean, he had a lot of tools to rebuild the board in 1 turn anyway.
Certainly.
But he was still going to be facing down an Aetherling and a lot of land, so you want to take those wins.
Yeah, Jake just punted, yeah. Yeah.
I animated the wrong land.
All right, looking at the sideboard plan here. Now, Matt's got some detention spheres in his board, which will be helpful. It'll be good against some of Jake's more explosive starts, as well as be able to deal with some of his planeswalkers directly. Aside from that, like, you got, like, a negate. You got some stuff, but, like, is it even any good?
I'm not sure. I'm going to run the list back out to the players, and then we're going to talk more about it once they're done sideboarding.
Cool. Just a friendly reminder that... oh, wait, we don't want that. We do have our game day next week. We mentioned it briefly during the game. This is a shot of the one of the playmatch you'll win, minus the awesome text that we've got there on the right. Got all the information you need. Saturday, August 9th, play at 1 p.m., $10 to enter. If you show up early and you're one of the first 32 to enter, you will get a full art reclamation stage as a promotion. One of the top 8, all of them receive full art foil chief engineers, and we received one of the awesome Garrick axes, the Nerf axes, and it's pretty big. Like that, this does not communicate its true size and how awesome it is. But the winner on the Saturday event is going to receive one of these as well. I'm also pleased to report that Dan Fountain has advanced past... where'd the thing go? Dan Fountain has beat Malachi, Rita, and advanced to the semifinals as well. Alright, looks like they're done sideboarding. Going to be shuffling up. Let's see. Sideboarding plans for Jake. The Soul is obviously going to come in. Probably Mistcutter Hydra, maybe? I'm not even sure.
Yeah, he had the Mistcutter Hydra.
A whole lot of cards he really wants to bring in. Probably the Nylea, the Mistcutter, and the Soul.
Yeah, and I think that's all he had.
Maybe you could bring in another Sage if you want to get spicy, but there's not that many targets after boarding.
No, Jake had, when I was out there, Jake had the 4 Mistcutters up and the God. I think that's all he's bringing in for this.
Soul. That's curious.
Now, Matthew's going to bring in the Detention Spheres, obviously,
yes.
And from there, it's kind of a
kind of a toss-up. Like, you could bring in things like Last Breath to stunt Jake's better draws, but
Reprisal seems interesting.
Reprisal's probably actually just better because it,
Yeah.
it kills one of it. Jake's only got so many real threats. He's got a lot of air in his deck, a lot of 1/1s and 1/2s and 2/2s that don't really do a lot in the face of powerful spells like Jace and Elspeth. So
Yeah, but if you want to save yourself from taking like a ton of damage from a Pelucanos on like say turn 4,
yeah.
maybe that's the way you want to go.
Well, you know how he lost this game by, I mean, it wasn't like his draw and the way he played it out necessarily, but Jake's road to victory was playing dorks and attacking while Matt did nothing. So maybe Last Breath is an option.
Yeah, or you can maybe
like if you could just take out one of those Voyaging Satyrs, man, it really
right.
If you
If
go
Jake
from
only
like 40
finds,
mana to 20.
if Jake only finds one Voyaging Satyr the entire game and you Last Breath it immediately,
Yep,
you're
and
definitely in a better situation than you would be if it's on the board.
can't
So
just sit there and have those solitaire turns that he had in that game.
yeah, and he's got a lot of blanks here, I think, in his main deck, so he can afford to take some of them out. You can't leave with one Quicken. You really can't rely on leaving up a Quicken Verdict. Planar Cleansing's probably going to come out with Touch Sphere going in, although he might leave one in just to be.
I'd definitely leave the one quick.
Yeah.
I feel like it's something you always want to keep in your opponent's
Well,
mind.
Quicken, yeah, is going to stay in, but Planar Cleansings are probably going to come out. I mean, you might want to leave.
Would you? See, I'm not sure. Like, you've got these D-spheres, right, that can take care of Planeswalkers, but you know that Jake's has one Sage main. He might bring in another one, and that could be a real problem. Like, if you D-sphere one of his walkers and you, like, chords for Sage, it's like,
Yeah,
oh
so-
my lord.
So with 2 Sages in, you might want to keep that plan going. I don't know about Syncopate here.
Do you think? Yeah, I was saying. Do you think
Doesn't seem
Syncopate
very
or
good.
Dissolve is the correct cut on any of these? I mean, like, again, Jake's only got so many important spells, but you want to make sure that your sweeper should catch the more important ones. If you leave Planar Cleansing in, you can get a real devastating turn where you hit like,
Both
a Burning Tree, a
Planeswalkers,
Planeswalker,
yeah.
and a Polukranos or Pelucanos, whatever you want to call it. So
Paul.
I don't know. The big man.
I would take the Syncopates out, yeah. And
Yeah, definitely 2 Syncopates out for, let's see, so we're bringing in 4 cards potentially, 3 spheres and maybe a Reprisal or a Last Breath, depending. I guess we'll see. We'll see if we don't see a particular card. My guess is I would probably shave Dissolves. That's just
Yeah,
maybe
I don't
I'm
know if
wrong.
he
I
can
don't play a lot of blue-white.
Well, he can't really afford to leave that mana up all the time. And
Yeah.
bluffing one in the last game didn't really work. Although he did eventually draw into one, and he did use it to get himself an extra turn, he didn't really get a whole lot done with the Dissolve mana left. The deck's just kind of too fast for it. So yeah, maybe
so
that's the
just-
right.
So like you just hope to keep a hand with like Divinations and Azorius Charms and cycle through to your sweepers, and then just try and stick a
Right.
Planeswalker and win. Because if you can play a Planeswalker when Jake's got little to no board presence, you're gonna win.
Yeah, like a
It doesn't matter
Jace,
which one it
a
is.
Jace on turn 4 in that game changes the entire game.
Yeah.
It basically nullifies Jake's plan and makes him commit permanence to the board. Now,
Mm-hmm.
Matt doesn't have a sweeper, but who's to say if Jake is willing to do that or not?
Well, it buys him infinity turns. Matt enters the end game when he hits that first rev at like 16.
Yeah.
So
So
like what 9 or whatever he was at. Yeah.
Matt has a lot of interesting options here. The Tens of Fears are the only for sure coming in, and outside of that, it's kind of a toss up on what he wants to bring in. So he looks like he's all set to keep there, and he leads off with the Temple of Silence. The one
Singleton
of.
Silence.
Check this out, bro.
Looks like a Mutavault there, I think.
I might be playing black. You don't know.
Oh no, I lied.
All right, Standard Forest for Jake and Hallowed Fountain for Matt. Tapped.
Oh yeah, we need to update this thing. No. Did I hit the 1? My goodness. I don't know why I made the font that color. Wait. It's good.
Yeah, that's fine.
Alright, missed a little action. Satyr into that guy, yeah.
Courser. Sending the one over
And there was no counter for
the red zone.
Reyes.
I think if you've boarded out some counter spells, you really can't afford
There's
to
the vault,
counter.
so he kept the vault. It's an early play of a vault. Like, it's one of your 3 ways to deal with.
Oh,
well, I guess
man.
you've got 6 ways after board.
Mistcutter on top. Well, the
Scary.
beauty of this deck is Mistcutter can sit in your hand for 4 turns and just win the game.
Yep.
Jake does not have to play it right away.
He's doing the right thing, just getting in the damage when he can. Does he even want to commit anything more is the question. I'm not
No,
like it.
he's going to pass it up. And what I was saying before is that if you've boarded some counters out, I don't really think you can afford to waste one on a Courser.
Yeah, this
Oh,
is
that's
true.
not good for
Oh,
Matt right there.
boy.
I mean, there are 4 Nykthos in Jake's deck, but the first one means that a second one is a free double Nykthos in 1 turn.
Yeah.
And with a Satyr already on the board, ugh. So, Matthew's gonna mull this over. It looks. Does he rev for 2? No. Or Jake's
No, he
doing
tried to
count. Jake is
cycle
counting
his,
here. Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't. Jake's hand was off screen, so I couldn't see how much he was fake counting.
Looks like Ray's is probably just going to try and cycle through his things like charms and such to try and get to a sweeper here. Especially because there is a Nykthos on board. He doesn't want to let it get out of hand.
Is he gonna ship 2 from the course around over? Knowing Matt was not gonna save himself 2 dams in the Mutavault.
Or
Yeah,
he's
and
gonna
there's a
rev
rev
for
for 2.
Look at that.
Yeah. This probably means he has more than 1 rev in his hand.
Could be. Or there might be a div or something. That looks like a temple, and let's see.
There's an Elspeth. There's a
white
charm
card?
and another rev on the bottom.
Is that a deicide? Did he bring that in? It might be a last breath. Like, I don't know the art very
That
well.
looks like Deicide actually.
Brought in the deicide. I guess that's his plan against Nylea.
Nylia? Yeah. Well, he sees that there's a second god in Jake's sideboard as well,
I
which
guess
he
it is
assume
really good
comes
'cause he
in,
gets the
so
other
it's
one, yeah.
a little bit better.
Didn't even think about that when I'm discussing sideboard plans.
Yeah.
But it is quite effective. And
And
he's got the
if he has to, he can always burn it on a courser.
That's true.
Are there any other enchantments in Jake's deck that really matter? No, I don't think so. I think that's the only
I
enchantment.
don't believe so.
Oh, Primeval Bounty in his sideboard.
Yeah, he's not bringing that.
Yeah, which is not going to come in this match. So, Jake now doing the math again. It looks like
Tell you what, if you don't
The-
like
the
Matt,
air
if you don't like
quotes
Matt,
math.
don't play this deck.
air quotes math. Yep.
3, 4, 5. Jake only access to 6 mana currently, but obviously has other things he could do. Now, if he correctly assumes that some of the counter magic left Matthew's deck, he has more free reign to be able to just do stuff. So it looks like he's going to add the full amount. Yep. So he did leave some floating. Am I right?
So it's a Hydra for 5. Yeah. No, he
no,
spent.
he used it all. Yeah, he used
Yeah,
it
he
all.
spent 7 for.
He did
Hydra
bring in
for
the
5.
soul. Look at that. That's a soul Nefrexia, right?
Yeah.
That second card there.
Yep. That one. I believe so, but he's going to go with
That is
Pelucranos instead.
Yep, and it gets shuffled in. That's so a lot of power right away. Obviously, just inducing the Perilous Vault, which is a little curious, but all right. Maybe you might want to do attack first, but yeah. Maybe I wasn't
So-
sure when he was going to hit.
And that Furniture Emissary, if Jake has a way to quickly rebuild his hand, it's just going to accelerate that.
That's a curious Genesis. Jake's hand must be all gas. if
Yeah,
he did
yeah.
that.
It must be worse to think that, okay, my opponent has to have a ton of good stuff in his hand to play into this, and then see an Emissary to help accelerate it with the Devotion count is going to add for free.
That's what we talked about earlier. Elspeth on an empty board. Planeswalker on an empty board. We'll see if that's enough.
The big problem that Elspeth has in this matchup is it really can't do anything about Hornet Queen.
It's true.
And if Jake has one of those in his hand,
It could be coming down if he
that
does.
might be what
He's only got one in his deck though, so it's a little unlikely.
right. Now, if
One
he
of the whole
builds
75.
a board here though, he can cord into it next turn for free.
That's true.
So maybe that's the plan. There's a voyaging, and he's just going to pass it.
That's
yeah.
not a good sign, actually.
Yeah.
Curious play from Jake.
Yeah, and what do you think about taking the Pelucranos instead of the soul? Costs 5, correct? The green one.
6.
Oh, it's 6. Okay, so he didn't have enough to take the soul. He probably takes the soul.
No, it wouldn't matter. No, you don't want to do that because the Vault exiles.
Oh, it does. Okay.
So you wouldn't even get that free,
you wouldn't even be able to
the
get
free
it,
counter
right.
for Supreme Verdict or Planar Cleansing later in the game.
Okay. Yeah, I'm so used to Nevernoll's disc and not
Yeah.
Perilous Vault.
I do wonder what Jake was holding when he made that decision, though, when he played what apparently was his last gas card. And, like it's funny, he makes that play, and we assume his hand is all gas, and now he's done nothing since.
Yeah,
It
so
looks like he's basically getting revved out of this game.
I'm sure he's got something else in there, but maybe not the density of threats that he really wanted to hang on to in case this kind of thing
There's a
happened.
Forest, there's a Burning Tree we know about. Looks like he's got 4 or 5 cards, looks like.
Yeah, if I was to guess, I'd say 5. A lot of soldiers are going to come
He's not
across.
blocking
It's more like
one?
4, actually. Yeah, I think it's only
Curiously
4.
not blocking. I don't understand that, but guess he doesn't. Oh, he doesn't want to get his guy Azorius Charmed. I guess that's it. But at this point,
Right.
I guess if that is the case, it's just waiting for one particular one card to bring it all together. Don't know what it could be.
So the zombie planeswalker herself, imposing her will all over the place.
He could have Cord in his hand right now,
Yeah,
which would be enough for 5, which isn't really that threatening.
The thing is, if you're sitting across from a blue-white player with a giant pool of mana open,
oh, it'd be for 6. Excuse me.
yeah, really, a Cord is not a great play right now.
Well,
Because
but it's something he could play at end of turn. Like he didn't do anything on his
Right.
turn, right? So that must be Last Breath.
yeah,
Yeah, it is. Is that the Shadowmoor version? I'm not sure.
yeah, I think so. So yeah, like you said, he brought the Last Breath in to take care of Voyaging Satyr, and
Well, he had 2 mains, so we're not sure if he brought a 3rd one in. But
oh right, he does.
definitely,
Okay.
definitely had one there. And facing down a full hand, boy, this isn't even going to go much longer. Elspeth's Ultimate's 7, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So this is the end.
Yeah, she starts at 4, 5 effectively, and her ultimate's 7. Seems fair.
Fair card. I mean, hey, for 6 mana, you get what you pay for. You know?
True. Compared to the last Elspeth, or well, I should say the first Elspeth, this is
When they didn't really know how to design.
presumably
Like,
this Elspeth is going to be the last Elspeth forever, unless she gets resurrected. So it's not a bad way to go out.
Right, that's true. And yeah, I completely forgot about that.
It really, yeah. That's what I meant when I said zombie
yeah,
planeswalker, because
like
she's
the whole-
she's dead canon wise, but
The whole like planeswalker legend rule, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
It like has never come up for me in like
We,
deck building or anything.
we ran into it today. I believe it was in round, I want to say 4. We pulled Jake's match against somebody playing a Naya Super Friends style deck, and he had a Johnny Mentor of Heroes out, and he drew his Ajani, the new one, from 15th, and yeah,
A lot of Ajani's in standard right now.
yeah, there's 3.
We couldn't see his hand. He had a way to
He had
kill
a
it?
Reclamation Sage.
Oh my.
Oh wow, Jake had
And
a
then instead he committed all his guys to the
Sage.
board and then
No, turns before that he didn't kill it.
Oh wow.
Wow. Okay, so Jake had a Reclamation Sage in his hand.
Jake needs
The
to
turn after
reserve 15
Perilous
cards.
the turn after Perilous Fall was
Oh my
was
gosh.
cast. Held it the entire game, didn't kill the Perilous Fall. Wow.
We're gonna highlight this and I'm going to have Jake watch it.
Wow. So, yeah, you can't. When you are 1 game up, you can't just
Coast.
do whatever you want. Yeah, you really need to try to close your opponent out.
Yeah, Jake was still in I have 50 mana, screw it mode. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So he's going to be on the play again, though, which is quite
That
the
will
advantage
help.
in this game.
Oh yeah. Oopsie. We lost our deck list for a little while. That's okay though.
Jake won't even need to look at Matt's list. He didn't look at it last time. He knows what's in there.
Yeah.
But Matt might
Let's
want.
put an ad up. Screw it.
Yeah, there we
It'll
go.
be fun. Look at this. Look what we're doing next week, right?
Look at this sweet playmat you can win. This, without the text on the right there, is literally the playmat you will win if you make top 8.
I am
next
extremely
week's
jealous that I
KMC.
will be working and not winning one of these playmats. There's gonna be a lot of people here. Come out and have fun. If you're not interested in either game day or the KMC, just come out and
Yeah, and
trade,
if you
hang out,
go,
community event.
Go 0-2 in one of these things, there's going to be side events running all day for...
There's a Kaijudo Open, right, at like 6 or 7.
Right, so
I don't know what that's about,
if
but
you,
it's another event.
I think the tournament the next day is the open tournament, but there's side events, there's drafts, and there's a win-a-box, and there's... So if you go 0-2 or X-2 in any one of these, even if you come to play Magic and you go X-2, you want to learn how to play Kaijudo, you stick around, you get your demo, and you can get into... What's crazy about this game is you can take that demo deck, add 5 or 6 cards, and you can win a tournament. It's happened here a couple times. So, yeah, come on down and hang out with us that weekend. It's going to be awesome. I think that whistle going off was Manchester United winning at the Big House
they were
today.
playing at the Big House?
Yeah, yep. They won 3-1 today. If I was a richer man, I love you guys, but that's where I would have been because that's my favorite sport in the entire world and my favorite team. in the entire
So like
world.
those two teams, they don't play in the same like league or whatever.
No,
right?
one is
Premier
the
League.
best,
that's Man
the
U,
best
right?
Spanish team, and then you have what used to be the best English team, but is
Watch
on
our
their,
viewers drop to 0 as we talk about soccer.
yeah, on their way back. On their way back.
I don't mind.
Hey, to each their own.
Hey man, I didn't have to hear about it on ESPN for 3 weeks. I'm cool.
There you go. Yeah. What's cool is if you don't like soccer, you don't ever have to watch it if you just stick to ESPN. You might have to see some highlights because NBC owns all the rights to
But hey man, the soccer highlights are actually
all
kinda
the
cool
English one.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
See, now that's the thing I think about American football. I'd much rather just watch the highlights than the game.
Another 3-yard run.
Yeah,
right?
because I could do like highlights of 15 minutes, or the best thing on television sometimes is the Chris Berman 2-minute drill, and then with the music, the da 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 da, when the guys are running for 100-yard touchdowns, and then 5-6 minutes I saw all the cool stuff, and I can just go back
You
and
didn't have
watch
to
it.
spend all Sunday watching
Right,
football,
yeah,
although
so-
you could. for
Now,
fun.
this is the one thing about soccer: you're in and out in 2 hours if you don't show up early at all. Whereas with football, you're kind of stuck there for like 3.5 hours.
Boy,
minimum.
that is true. I'm not sure if that's necessarily a positive or a negative.
It
but
depends on what kind of fan you are. If you're the
Yeah.
typical American fan, it's awesome because you're going to have 30 chances to go to the bathroom. But if you are a soccer fan,
got
you
like
only
one.
have one chance to go to the bathroom. So, or two in the World Cup sometimes. In between penalties and overtime, there's usually at least a 5-6 minute break to where the teams huddle up and discuss their order and things like that. So,
We never figured out what Jake took out.
Jake,
He took out the one disciple, clearly.
Yes.
The one Arbor Colossus, for sure.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think he would have taken out his Hornet Queen.
I think he might have went down to
Maybe he
three
cut some
coursers.
number of-
I think
no.
he went down to 3 coursers, and he probably cut maybe 1 Pelucranos.
You know what's crazy? I might actually cut Elvish Mystic from this deck. That seems insane, but like,
I think the problem with cutting Elvis Mystic is great until you get to the point where, okay, well, what do I lose? Because you gain a lot of things, but when you lose Elvish Mystic, you lose the potential for turn 1 Elvish Mystic, turn 2 Voyaging Satyr, turn 3 Pelucranos,
turn 3 Insanity.
and then your opponent can't recover if they don't. It's not. If Matthew Reyes was playing Esper and not blue white, it's probably way easier to cut Elvish Mystic here, because there's so many answers that aren't in this deck. Jake's down to 6 cards.
Looks like Jake is at 6.
And is Matt down to 6 cards as well? It's kind of hard to see with the darker sleeves.
It looks like he's on 7. Yeah, what the heck? Jake just forgets to.
No, yeah, he just forgot.
What is going on with Jake?
Okay. Long day. Maybe he over caffeinated himself.
I think
early.
his Reclamation Sage is not English. I think he assumed it just. In fact, I'm gonna ask him after it. I bet it's like Korean or Japanese, and he's gonna be like, "Oh my god, I'm so stupid."
I don't know if that's flattery or. We'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's definitely flattery.
Yeah, it's flattery. All right. That's what I thought.
agree.
Okay. All
That's
right.
internet slang for you guys are great.
Yeah. So Jake, that's a better start than probably. Maybe he did cut. No, he had Mystics last game, didn't he?
I don't think I saw one.
I don't know. Is that a
That's a last breath.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna assume that Matt either sided in a last breath or sided out the other ones, depending on his plan. I'm gonna assume that since we've seen it twice now that it's.
Yeah,
that
I don't
it's-
think
he
he's-
sided one in.
Yeah, I think
in order to deal with his Satyr. Voyager Satyr.
he's probably running 3.
No.
So Jake missed a land drop there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good at all.
Bad. And Matt shocks himself and passes probably. Yep, that's no bueno.
So he would shock himself and pass to cast dissolve. Okay.
That's like it.
Yeah, that's all he'd have left. So he's got the dissolve still in. Syncopate for 2 works too when your opponent only has 2 land.
There's a emissary. It looks like probably wouldn't play. I mean, you play it just to get the dissolve, I guess, or get something on the board. You have to. I think you got to play something if you can,
Yeah.
because he clearly doesn't have another 2-drop.
The only 2-drop I might hold back is Burning Tree, just because.
I
Yeah,
think
because
you gotta put a dude on the board.
you can chain Burning Tree into other things later if you draw a land, whereas
Yeah, but see, if he does nothing here, right, like, then Matt's only one more turn away from just playing Elspeth on the empty board, which is, like, the end of the game. I know there's only 3 Elspeths, but, like, playing Elspeth on the empty board and perhaps or having just a Rev with no board presence is bad.
we appreciate the flattery.
Stay classy, chat.
Flattery is always welcome here. So, okay, and then this is pretty much the first step to the end right now. Well, missing the land drop was the first step. This is the second step. This is the second level of hell for Jake
Wonder
right
what
now.
Jake kept on the play.
He's got to have a Reclamation Sage probably in his hand.
Probably got like a Courser and some other stuff.
Yeah,
We
Courser.
only had one Accelerant? That's so strange. I guess maybe he was hoping to just rip a couple lands. Jake's list has
I think on the play.
24 lands.
On the play,
That's
yeah, you're
including
against
four
blue white.
Nixos.
You can afford to go to 6. I don't know about that.
I think it's you can probably afford to mulligan. I mean, maybe his hand was not a mulligan. We don't know. We only saw a couple cards. Jake's already discarding. Hooty hoo. All right, we'll see.
Okay, well, here's Burning
did what you
Tree.
probably should have
Now-
done a little while ago. See now, if this was in play that other turn when I said he couldn't have cast Jason minused it.
Right now, but
That's why it should have been in play.
by holding the Burning
Oh, I
Tree,
guess-
he ensures it hits the board because Matt tapped out last turn. So This is what I was thinking about right now. If you hold the burning tree, you can put another permanent on the board, and
Is he
at
really
least
gonna dissolve a burning tree.
well,
Maybe.
maybe. I mean, if your opponent misses 2 land drops, 3 land drops in a row, I mean, why not dissolve a burning tree?
Good point.
I mean, it would be the
I
next.
think
It would
I
be
just
next
err on the
level.
side of-
It would be very next level for him to run out the burning tree with nothing, trying to bait your dissolve, and then for you to not dissolve it, and then him to play a card afterwards off of it. That would be nuts. So, and especially if you have Elspeth in your hand and you're playing a land every turn, yeah. I mean, you may as well dissolve the burning tree because you're already super ahead.
Yep, this one's pretty
Yeah,
grim.
Jake is pretty much.
Jake has been
I don't want to say it's over.
varianced
but
out of this game. Either that or maybe he should have mulliganed. We don't know yet. We're gonna get some info on that. We're gonna see what he kept.
he's going to tell us what he kept, why he kept it, and why he didn't want to go to 6 cards in terms of potential of what he was going to draw in the 6. And he'll explain every angle to us.
Yeah, so do you want to get him in
That's
here
the kinda
after,
well,
if this match ends?
whether we like it or not, he's going to tell us. But no, we want to know, though. We want to know what was going through his mind when he decided not to mull the hand. I mean, if he draws 1 land, though.
Yeah, well, the
hand
thing
is
is, but
good.
what's he got? Clearly, he's got a courser in his hand, right? So
Right.
maybe he hopes he gets to another land off.
And
of
he's on the play. If he draws 1 land, the courser comes down turn 3. It can't be dissolved. At the worst, it could be syncopated, but syncopate probably came out of the
Probably
deck
left the
after
deck.
game 1, right?
Yeah.
So
to make room for things like Last Breath and more, and different kinds of reactive cards.
So I'd say that it's not. If this was game 2, I like that keep. I think, but this is game 3. Oh, and we
Depends on the rest
forgot
of
to
Oh yeah. Well, it's about to be.
yeah. So it's game 3, and that's the issue there with that keep. I think that
Ooh, ouch.
as much as I hate mulliganing in general,
Yeah.
and that's it for Jake.
Matthew
Unfortunately.
Reyes advances semifinals, and 2-1. You know, it's tough to be the mono green player. Like sometimes you feel like a god. You know, you have 50 mana, and your opponent's just kind of like. He's like looking. He's like, "They don't got a cheeseburger. I'm hungry. I'm bored."
Yeah,
This guy's taking 3 minutes on his mono green turn, and sometimes you just got 2 mana in play, and you get your crap killed, and you feel like a small child.
And in Jake's case, he had his god out in several games today and did some godlike things by activating it 10 plus times in a turn. And this is just what happens. Last night at FNM we had some really unfortunate events on stream. People, Morissette couldn't draw anything but land after going to 5 in a game. We had a new player. She went to 6 with a 1-lander and was playing monsters, which is pretty choked on mana. It's hard to go to 5 in that deck and didn't draw anything for 6 turns into the game. So this is just kind of one of the things that happens when you play a game with resources that are separate from what you can actually cast.
It's going to happen, folks. It's
Yeah.
happened before. It's going to happen again after this. I sure know it's happened to me a fair share of times. Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Oh, what that is somebody in the chat that is a mod timed that out.
Solid. No, I mean I know what.
Yeah, it wasn't us. It wasn't us casting.
Yeah, we didn't do that.
We appreciate the flattery. Maybe you just have to clean it up a little bit.
Yeah,
That's
it
all.
was a little too flattering.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna go and we're gonna go see what's up with Jake. We're gonna try and get him in here for.
Yeah, we're gonna get some insight of the match. Maybe get him in to explain.
I think I'd like to.
What it is. Yeah. Okay. So we'll have Nigel and Jake sit down if we can get Jake in a minute and explain what thoughts were going through his mind in Game 3 there.
Cool.
And maybe get a little more insight on what exactly he put in and took out in sideboard. Okay, so Nigel had a chance to go out and talk to Jake, and he told you a little bit about what he sided in and out.
Well, he decided to side in the Solaneuphorexia, the 4 Mistcutter Hydras in Game 2, and then he had one other card that he brought. He brought in his Primeval Bounty, interestingly enough. His reasoning behind that was he just wanted to have more cards that had more of a lasting impact on the game, and he knew that his opponent Matthew only had a select number of ways to deal with an enchantment in play. And it's not so much like the life gain or the +1/+1 counters. He just wanted to have all his little crappy dudes be more impactful, and I guess I agree with that reasoning. He took out a number, like a kind of a smattering of cards. He did take out a couple of Garrick, which I thought a little curious, but he took out like a Courser, a Voyaging Satyr, like just a couple of just kind of diluted the deck a little bit to make room for these like bigger, more heavy-hitting cards. He didn't take out Elvish Mystic like I had maybe predicted. I'm not even sure if that would have been right anyway.
Yeah, I think against blue-white you have to leave it in just for a turn 2 Courser or a turn 3 Final Chronos. Yeah. So and make your opponent waste his very limited sweepers early.
We don't know what his keep was in Game 3, but I presume it had Courser in it. Forest, Courser, Voyaging Satyr, Genesis Hydra. Some big spells. A BTE. Solaneuphorexia. Okay, so he had a big hand that if he drew like 2 lands off the top or 2 lands within the first 4 turns, he's looking good. He's in the game.
Yeah. So one land, like you said, is basically your home free there.
Yeah, you go nuts. Yep.